Hi everyone, I want to talk about diagnosis of seizures. Okay, let's go. The first thing is history. And the history will start by asking the affected individual or people nearby who witnessed the occasion that is it the first seizures? And if the answer could be supplied, then we need to go more into complete history before the onset, during the seizures, and post-ictal, post-seizures. And collateral history from the observers will be very helpful because sometimes we might be dealing with generalized seizures where there's impairment of awareness. Okay, and we'll treat the identifiable triggers. We want to find out about possible triggers. Is this unprovoked? Unprovoked means it's not triggered by any known etiology. Okay, and is it focal? The individual could tell if it is focal, but will not be able to tell specifically if it is generalized because there will be impairment of awareness, but collateral history could help with that. The exact nature of the seizures may give clue. For example, it should end within 2 to 3 minutes. It is greater than that in transient ischemic attack, migraine, psychogenic, or non-epileptic seizures. The period of the seizure itself could also give a clue, like if there's altered consciousness or impairment of awareness, that is pointing to generalized seizures disorder. If there's variable consciousness, that might be focal. If there's versive head turning, that is pointing to frontal lobe problem. Or there is eye deviation to the left, then we're having right frontal lobe because it's going to affect the contralateral side of the brain. If it is unilateral sensory disturbance, you might be dealing with contralateral parietal lobe. Okay, and if there's dysphasia, you might be dealing with dominant hemisphere. The post-ictal features will also give clue, like if it is lasting only seconds and the individual is a young person, you might be dealing with frontal lobe. If it's taking days or weeks and there's confusion in an elderly person, you might be dealing with underlying anomalies and possibly tumor. If there are seizure precipitants, well, you can check my video on precipitants or triggers of seizures for that so that I won't waste all your time here. And if the individual had similar events or events in the past, we want to know because that would determine when we'll start anti-epileptic drugs. Because by the time we get to treatment, you realize that someone having seizure disorder for the first time might not be commenced on any anti-epileptic medications. Okay, so we need to have that history. And medications that could trigger seizure disorder, when you check my video on possible causes and triggers, you're going to get the list there. We also ask about past medical history of head injury because of arachnoid hemorrhage, subdural hematoma, could all lead to this. Aposic, ischemic injury, traumatic brain injury, all of them. Delayed developmental problem in children is a clue. Intellectual disability, history of stroke, Alzheimer's disease, like 10 to 20% of them at the later stage of the disease, meningitis, encephalitis, CNS abscess, alcohol withdrawal, street drugs like cocaine, neoplasm, primary brain tumor, or secondary metastatic tumor, decreased immunity, sickle cell disease, porphyria, and of course autoimmune diseases. We'll all ask about all these possible conditions in affected individual with seizure disorder before us today. Please, sometimes people get irritated and they become offended when you ask them about their family history. Please don't be. There's possibility of family history when it comes to seizure disorder. So we're going to ask for possible family history of seizure disorder, and if in the past any member first-degree relatives had EEG diagnosis of absent seizures, we want to know. And we'll go over the physical examination, looking for what we call lateralizing signs. Is there weakness in one part of the body? And when we do the deep tendon reflexes, are we picking up a reflexia? And when we try to check for Babinski's sign down there at the foot, we want to know if it's positive. And tongue bites, well, that is not so specific, it's a weak factor, but if it is present, that might be pointing to generalized tonic-clonic seizures. We want to take samples and go to the lab. What are we looking for? Electrolyte derangement. What is the level of the calcium, sodium, and magnesium? We want to know what is happening to the glucose high or too low. And are we dealing with infection here with complete blood count? We want to know the level of edema or white blood cells, to know whether we are dealing with infection here or not. Blood urea nitrogen, what is happening to the kidney? What is urinalysis telling us? Liver function tests, thyroid function tests, because hypothyroidism is a culprit. Toxicology screening, we just talked about alcohol and street drugs, and of course beta-hydroxycholic gonadotropin, because if this woman is pregnant, we want to select the type of anti-seizure medication we're going to use, or whatever decision we're going to embark upon. We want to rule that out before we teach this woman into having baby with deformity, because most of these medications have what they call teratogenic effects. Teratogenicity is very high in them. And worst of them are these valproic acid there. If you're not pleased with that, we'll go ahead with the radiological investigations. EEG is routinely done on anybody we suspect to be having seizure disorder, not somebody just coming for the first time with convulsion or just one febrile convulsion and we'll go for EEG. No, okay? But we'll do EEG to cone down on the real diagnosis, or while the person is having seizure, if the person is on admission, we'll hook up the EEG machine while the seizure is ongoing, okay? EKG will be appropriate to rule out long QT syndrome and arrhythmia, because when people just fall down like atonic, or you might think this is atonic, right? But if you listen to my presentation on long QT syndrome, many people have been wrongly diagnosed to have seizure disorder, particularly the younger age group, to have seizure disorder, and they are actually having what is called long QT syndrome. So with the help of the EKG, with hypomagnesia, that is leading to long QT syndrome or other causes of long QT syndrome that could be genetic, and the individual is appropriately diagnosed with long QT syndrome, that will save lives. Because even with anti-epileptics that might worsen long QT syndrome, long QT syndrome diagnosis is going to be life-saving, because with long QT syndrome, there's going to be ventricular arrhythmia, ventricular fibrillation, asystole, and possible sudden cardiac death. Additional tests that we're going to do here, if this is the first seizures, please, we can do CT of the head to rule out space-occupying lesions, okay, before we do our lumbar puncture. So if it is first seizures and just want to be safe, CT of the head, then lumbar puncture. Then we can order for urgent electroencephalogram, EEG, if the individual is not returning to baseline within 30 to 60 minutes. Or you can try to trigger seizures during EEG testing with flashing lights, sleep deprivation, and hyperventilation, so that you'll be able to get the exact form of the seizures on EEG. MRI could be useful, particularly if you use MRI in a young individual that may reveal mesial temporal sclerosis, sequelae of head injury, congenital anomalies, brain tumors, cystic sarcosis, or vascular lesions. But in elderly, that can reveal the cause to be stroke, cerebral degeneration, or brain tumors. However, half of the people that will undergo neuroimaging will have normal results. Those with focal seizures will likely have focal lesions as well on neuroimaging studies. And with that, I come to the end of possible diagnosis of seizure disorders. So you can see that the core is proper history. So please kindly cooperate with your physicians. Be honest, be truthful, let them know the truth, because that will guide the type of investigations they're going to do, and they may not do any investigation depending on what you reveal. Thanks for listening. Kindly subscribe to my channel so that you can get my presentations immediately they're published. Thank you.